Hello everyone. I hope you're having a great weekend over here. I apologize for all of the different the problems with today's stream, but luckily we do have a game here today. So by the way, today's team is Red Hat versus Amazon Knights. So currently we're looking at a game. So D14NY5 is on team Red Hat. So open source.
And it's playing the Queen's Gambit.
Nice. So we got some potential opening theory here.
Yeah, some opening theory, or maybe some, Netflix fan of the Queen's Gambit. I feel like that opening's getting pretty popular these days. What do you think?
Yep, 100%.
Especially due to the whole movie. I don't know.
Oh, so Black in this position, in my opinion, for D14NY5, he's doing a really good job. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing against a isolated pawn. You're supposed to try to get a knight in front and create an outpost square. So if if one of the knights get to the D5 square, the knight has a really good spot to stay for a long time.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I like that idea. I'll actually try to develop my develop my queen. Maybe bring a rook to the D file.
Ooh.
The thing with the knight on D5, I mean, it's really nice, but I'll try to put more pressure on the D4 pawn. I mean, the knight on D5 is very solid, but maybe I was thinking to try to play a little bit more aggressively to put a little bit more pressure on the D4 pawn.
Right,
but okay, let's do that. Bishop to G5.
But by the way, before knight goes to D5, did Black just have a possibility to do bishop takes knight? And
I think he definitely had that. I was thinking about it. That was definitely something to keep an eye on. But here he missed a piece. He had knight takes E4. Winning the piece there. That's the first missed tactic. This move is still fine though. He's trying to get the bishop pair. So he's playing it slowly.
And the knight
takes F6, okay. The trades are very welcome for Black in this kind of structures, because the more pieces you trade, the weaker the Isolan is going to be. So the thing is just that White has dynamic potential with that pawn, but once there are no pieces, the dynamics are disappearing with that. So
and I mean there was a big threat earlier on, right, to create, and now he's actually doing exactly what I was about to say, is to create bad pawn structure, and now White is actually.
Let's see. He's going directly for the endgame. I thought maybe he wants to grab the D pawn directly, but he's playing it in the Capablanca style, I would say.
Yeah.
He's.
Yeah, but the thing is that having 4 pawn islands over here isn't the greatest thing, right? Because now the D4 pawn
Black has a very pleasant situation. I mean, I'm loving that position. I would just think to start with C6, just fix that pawn on D4, and then try to double my rooks.
Mm-hmm.
Although, that's still like not an easy win. Like even if you try, I think trading the bishop for the knight would be in Black's favor. So as White, you probably should be keeping that bishop.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I think
he's trying to get the knight to F4, like the way he's playing that.
Maybe with ideas of check and then winning the pawn on D4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think he wants knight F4 and then with rook D4 to show us some tactics. Okay, rook E1 is going to stop that idea for now.
For now.
Yeah. Again, I'm guessing maybe C6 by Black, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and generally speaking, if you have a worse situation, you want to refrain from trades, especially here. If they go into a king and pawn endgame, this is going to be quite terrible for White. So White should try to keep as many pieces on the board.
Yeah, I think especially that bishop is very important because he plays c6. He's listening to our commentary after quite some time. He came up with the c6 move. I'm obviously kidding. He's probably not listening to this. I hope so. Yeah, I mean, keeping the minor pieces on the board is important because with only rooks, then the deep pawn it's gonna be really vulnerable. So you can see that this way. I mean, the knight is powerful, but it's also like restricting the pressure on the d file a little bit. But black still looks really, comfortable. But white, I was thinking maybe white can try to take that knight now with ideas to penetrate with the rook on e7. But okay, plays bishop c2. Again, a very fine positional move. I would say is g6, just to improve the king, and then trying to limit that bishop. I would probably consider doing something like that, and I would also probably consider the maneuver knight f4 to e6, trying to increase the pressure on that pawn. But again, he plays it rook e7, very solid move. Again, I might be a little bit afraid of bishop f5. That's why I would have started with g6, but that's also fine. Okay, rook e4, he's doubling. Can we see a checkmate next on the back rank? Maybe. Probably
Possibly.
not. I think I'll go for that if I was white. I mean, I would have. I don't know. Let's see. But the problem is that rook e1 he simply goes knight f6 and.
Well, actually, that's why your idea with g6 and like stopping potential bishop f5 helps.
Yeah, I was like I would have gone for that in the first place, just trying to that way I know I'm never gonna get back rank checkmated, and also I'm just like keeping it nice and safe.
Yeah.
So okay, knight f6 on the board, trying to actually a3 was played by white, by the way. I almost missed it. That was.
I still do think that black really needs to focus on creating a fleeing square for the king, because when people aren't as competitive as we are, right? It's very easy to like miss things on the back rank. You just see it quite often.
Definitely, it's very easy. I think he might be playing for c5 now, though. Like the way he played it, it gives me the feeling that he's trying to exploit that pin. But we'll see. Again, something.
Technically,
he just takes it. Okay.
Yeah, he can capture it, right? Because the knight's defending.
Capture it. Yeah, he can just capture it. Yeah, that was. Like, I forgot about it in the first place, but.
But I guess I'm a little bit surprised. I'm a little bit surprised that white didn't play maybe rook h4 to keep the pawn going. But I guess the pawn didn't really have a long life anyways, because c5.
Yeah, exactly. C5 I mean, it's sooner or later it was probably going to drop anyways, right? So okay, let's see the sending though, because it's still like interesting. Because a pawn is a pawn, but I mean, there's been situation where there's some the first. I think like a mistake that a lot of people with less experience are doing. Once they get a winning position, they tend to relax.
Yeah,
and that is exactly when you're starting to miss a lot of potential tactics, or maybe some you can allow some counterplay, because once you have that kind of feeling of safety, then it's really easy to make a step into the wrong direction, and also like another mistake that I would highlight a lot of people with less experience are doing is that even like first second they blunder, let's say a pawn, they just give up mentally instead of trying to focus as much as they can. And I'm like telling my students also that you kind of have to be aware that your opponent is going to lose focus because he feels safe. So that's when you have to actually focus. I mean, it's just like focus all the time. It's that's like how.
Well, remember, Alex, one of my favorite quotes is like from Yasser Seirawan's book, when he basically explains how the game is not over till it's over. So the only time that you should relax is only when the game is over. That's when and my favorite quote from him is why is it called the King's Indian attack when there is no attack? That's also one I mean, he's one of my favorites commentators. I haven't really read his book though, but I mean, I really enjoy his style. Like I really love the guy, like in everything he does. So I'll probably read his book pretty soon.
So yeah, let's see. H6, it's taking it to its small steps. Black is not rushing with this conversion.
There's actually another game. So by the way, to everyone who is viewing, next week, hopefully everything is gonna run more smoothly. Technically speaking, we should be commentating on 2 games at the same time, but the two, sadly to say, like some of the games are not. They haven't really been starting at the same time. By the way, just before I do, this b5 move I think was a little bit of a mistake potentially by white, because now they're allowing black to put the pawns on the dark squares, so the bishop cannot attack, and creating a pass pawn on c5. But let's take a look at Rajadher's game, since their games just started as well. Rajadher is a part of the open source Knights team versus Samartha,
So
which is
another Queen's Gambit. Yeah, another Queen's Gambit. Crazy. Just when we were talking about it.
Yeah, and it's a very symmetrical, very closely symmetrical type looking position. There's a lot of control in the center by both players.
Yeah, now, I mean, it might be resembling a little bit of a Sebi Tarash if black goes dc4, but we'll see. No, like, the trick is to take on c4 and go b5 and win a tempo, but not sure if it's going to happen.
That's actually a really good point, because when I play these setups, even with b3, like I generally play b3 with c4 and d4, yeah, it's quite common to capture on c5 or c4 and gain a tempo, especially since the bishops have already been developed. Let's go.
Exactly. That's a good point. What you have to take whenever the bishop makes a move, because if the bishop is underdeveloped, I mean, it's on f1, let's say in the initial square, then you don't want to take on c4, because he can take in one move. But once he spends a tempo on the move, then okay, you take on c4 and he has to make another one, and that's how you win half a tempi. It's a pretty cool trick. He can do that again, but...
Let's go back to the other game, because this game is still somewhat in the opening middle game. Yeah, because I'm just kind of interested.
All right.
Okay, that's
Knight
interesting.
c7, very very precise move by black, not allowing any counterplay. So
that's really good.
So yeah, he's just proving me wrong. Maybe they're actually very focused.
Now it might be an interesting idea to play something like king to d6, protect the c5 pawn, and maybe even play a6 and b5.
Yeah, that was a great idea to play the pass pawns, but he's just going for the opposite idea. That right when you called it, he's going on f6. I'm curious to see what is the route for that.
No, but g5. So I think he wants to get the king potentially to e5 and.
That was with the pawn. He wanted to take with the pawn. Okay.
With the pawn, yep. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because it keeps the pawns kind of linked, and now the king...
Yeah, that's very beautiful. He's playing it very, very beautifully. This is just like...
I still find that it would have been better for black to focus on where they have the pawn majority. Rather than where the pawns were.
I mean, I think he's slowly centralizing his pieces. Do we have a win already? Do we have a win?
Ooh.
Or do we have a win in the Seth Berlin game?
Oh, by the way, I don't think that at least the username that he was playing, I didn't see it on the list, so I thought maybe he was.
He's not playing. Okay. Sorry about that.
No. Actually, this knight reroute was really, really good, by the way, for black, because like the knight on c7 wasn't doing that great, but like now they repositioned the knight on d4, which is basically doing the same thing, stopping the king from going to b5 and a6 and capturing all of those pawns.
Never play f3. We have it on the board.
Yeah, okay, let's take a look at... I'm going to go back to Rajadher's game, take a look at what has
finally we have c takes d5, which is a great move by white, not allowing that trick anymore. And do you know what I'm thinking to do with white after black takes on d5?
Actually, I don't play this too much. Is there like some ideas of maybe pushing
I would
e4
try to
later?
set up the battery here by playing bishop to b1 and then maybe get the queen to
Oh,
d3. And he does
nice.
exactly that. Oh my god, he's going
Awesome.
exactly for it. Oh my god, I don't believe this. He's going for queen d3 and then with the idea to take the knight from
Knight on
f6 and no queen to
f6.
h7.
Makes
Yeah,
sense. I don't play
let's see.
these I don't play these systems too much because generally speaking my bishop is always on b2. So it's nice to have you here to help me out with some other
Yeah,
openings.
that's an idea. Maybe another idea is to take on c5 and play knight a4 next. Play against the hanging pawns. So
Ooh, yeah,
yeah, I
that's
mean many ideas here for white because black didn't take advantage of the chance that he had to take on c4 and win a couple of tempis, and now white just got a very comfortable setup.
yeah,
Also, something like knight e5 is to keep an eye on.
yeah, and keep in mind since black is technically down a move in a way since they don't move first, it's quite important to try to gain tempos because that could help equalize the position, right? If I mean if white is losing certain moves, it could
Yeah,
help.
definitely. And okay, he's going for bishop takes f6 next. Let's see
Yeah?
if black is going to allow that.
Yep.
I'm guessing he will play
Ooh.
g6. That is like, if I'll have to play in the guess the move thing on chess.com, I would guess the move g6 here, which is going to be answered by 95. Okay, maybe I'm guessing too much, but
Yeah.
I'll just put that in.
Um
g6.
yeah,
That's
G6 like seems really off to me. It feels like in the future we could get something like H4 and H5, like or I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's too slow to try to play H4 and H5.
Yeah, but then it's
Can't
not
really do
simple
it.
to defend against this threat of taking on f6 and playing queen h7. So he's going for it, and now I'm guessing the move knight to e5 with the idea to go knight takes on f7 on g6. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing this is what he's going to play, but I'm not sure if it's that great because black will take on e5 and play knight e4, shutting down that whole battery. So knight e5, I don't think it's going to be the best move, but I'm guessing it's quite a natural one. So. Yeah, I don't know.
Ooh.
Let's see what white will play.
So the previous game actually so black won. I'm glad
So
that
black won. Yeah, black. Wow, that was actually
but
way closer than we
yeah.
thought.
Yeah. I'm actually a little bit curious on like what ended up happening here. So I'm just gonna go back to like move 44 here. So we got the pieces. It seems like one of the pawns ends up. Okay, so he sees the idea that going for. Ah, okay. Yeah, by playing pawn to b4, it does complicate things a little bit. Because it allows the bishop to go to c4 and kind of put a lot of pressure. Yeah, no, black played quite well.
He played it perfectly. He played it perfectly. I mean, I have no words to describe that. That was really precise.
Yeah.
I'm surprised in a good way.
Yep. Good job.
Can we get back to the Raja games? We have some developments happening in the pawn structure. So instead of knight e5, a move with the knight on the e file was played, but not the one that I suggested, but the move knight to e2 instead, which black replied with queen to d6. So my guess is that, again, white will try to play knight f4 next, but I'm not sure. This is a complex position. White has a lot of options that he can go for. I would personally prefer maybe a move such as bishop g3, because once I force that weakening with g6, the bishop on h4 is no longer that useful.
Yeah.
So I'll probably try to bring that back in the game, and then I'll try to do something with the knight from e2 maybe. But let's see how white tries to create anything. So we might actually be approaching... okay, so he's playing bishop g3. He's listening to my advice. We might actually be approaching a time trouble pretty soon because the players are getting pretty low. So even though it's only move 17, they already spent more than half of their time.
That is true.
So yeah, I mean they're really taking their time in the opening. It seems like, and
And to be honest, it is quite a skill to be good at speed chess because I mean you have to be able to see plans really quickly, and you know even strong players who don't practice speed chess that often struggle potentially with time. So yeah, this
no, definitely it's just a different game. I mean the time control is very important in chess because. Like I personally know players that they have separate repertoires in rapid chess. So they have like, uh, you know, some openings are not really working in longer time controls, but for like a blitz game or like a 7 minutes game, it can work perfectly. So it's just like you have to adjust to the time control. It's basically like a different game. So
95.
yeah, wow, he goes for 95 now.
Yep.
This is getting interesting.
Do you think maybe knight f4 could have been a potential? Oh, but then I'm a little bit worried about the c file a bit.
I definitely think knight f4 was an option with the idea to take on g6 next and just break through that pawn structure. But he went for 95 with a kind of similar idea. But now cd4 happened, so great move by black, taking a pawn and attacking the queen from this discovery on the c file.
Yep.
And now I'm guessing the move queen to d3, but it's not a great situation for white to be in, because black just managed to annihilate that battery with the move g6. So now I like black.
That's
also on the clock and the position.
Yeah, that's why I think maybe knight f4 or even like moving the queen off of the c file would have been a potential better.
I love knight f4. Knight f4 was a really aggressive move, but
before knight e5.
Now I'm
knight f4.
before 95. Yeah, when you mentioned it, I think that was a great chance that white.
I wonder maybe even queen d3 would have been fine in that position too, to step away from the c file, because if c4 is played, then black is just blocking off their play on the queen side, and that's kind of like what,
and just giving white a free hand on the other side of the board.
Okay, well let's see what ended up actually happening here.
Okay,
so the queen moved to b3. Yep.
I think white has to play the ugly f takes e3, yeah, because if queen takes, there would have been a pin on the e file, quite an unpleasant one. So if I be black here, maybe I would consider the move d4, sacrificing the pawn to open up my b7 bishop. But you don't necessarily have to do that. I would just think about it at least. I'll just consider it for a second. Still, the pawn is really, really important. So bishop to d4. White is getting really, really down on the clock. Only 30 seconds left in a middle game complicated position.
Capture.
Bishop to d6. Okay.
Oh, bishop d6. Yep. Okay. Yep. So as you can see now, there's some counterplay potentially happening here with black. The bishop's putting a lot of pressure. Did black have the possibility to capture on h2 with check
I don't know. They're getting down to only 17 seconds for.
Ooh, yeah. So before, when white captured the rook, black made a mistake, and they could have done an in-between move, and they could have done bishop takes h2 check, and then captured the rook back. So
that's right. The intermezzo. That's how I like to call that.
Yeah.
Do you usually call that way, or you
it's just like the way that it was. I was raised with it was in between move, and I don't know how it's said in Russian. So
I think also I was raised with in between, but I adjusted. I switch to intermezzo. It just sounds, I don't know, I like the way it sounds.
Also, instead of black doing this, I wonder if there was even some ideas of playing something like knight takes h2, king takes h2, and queen g4. That may have been really scary.
Have been an option.
That knight is gone because it's pinned and there's no way to defend it again.
But what he's doing is also really powerful. I think he's getting with the queen to g3 no matter what. Now it's getting really close to. Oh, Bishop G6.
Okay.
Watch out! If White takes, then it's gonna be a checkmate on G7. So Black has to do something else. Queen H2,
Queen
and
B5.
then okay, only 8 seconds on the clock for White. So he's trying to bail out for that Bishop G6, which I love that idea because it's a very practical move.
Well, here's the thing.
Creating some counterplay.
Here's the thing that Black, if he wanted before Queen H2, he had a draw if he wanted. Like here, or sorry, is it here somewhere? Okay.
Wait, Knight F2?
Let me see. Queen H2, King F1, Queen H1 check, King escapes. This is really
Queen
starting.
G6. Oh, and now Black has just got to this endgame. This is not something that you want to go for as White being down a piece, but it is what it is, and it looks like, Raj is collapsing, and great game by Samarat.
Yeah.
After Raj missed some interesting chances, then Samarat is not allowing any counterplay. Although it seems like he allowed a little bit of counterplay. The move King to F8 is bringing the probably bringing the point home. But again, I wouldn't rush to call it because they're very low on the clock. Bishop C5 was hanging, but it was not captured.
Yep.
Maybe we have a perpetual. I don't know. King to C6 seems to be avoiding that. Oh, he goes to C8. But again, he can go for checks.
Yep. I mean, Rook A8, King B7, and then King B8. The checks do finally stop.
Oh yeah. Oh, and now he goes Rook H8. Finally, you realize that the bishop was there. And now it looks like.
I mean, at this point, I hate to say this, but like when the bishop was still on the board, there may have still been a chance, but I hate to call. Oh, but maybe here. It's a discovered check. I almost thought that White lost the knight back. But
even if you lose it, it's not that it's not that
no,
big of a
course.
problem.
And now he missed knight b3.
Is he going? He's not going for the fork while he's playing for the checkmate. Oh. Wait, knight f2? No. Okay, I mean they're getting really low on the clock though. They're getting really low on the clock. Black only with 10 seconds.
No, I can't judge because like I'm a more competitive chess player and I'm pretty bad at speed chess, so I can't.
Only 10 seconds left. 1 second for White. He literally made a move with 1 second.
I feel like a really good strategy. White did lose by time, but also by game, sadly to say.
Yeah.
So what I would probably say that one of the main mistakes that was played was actually, I believe, knight e5. If we look back, knight e5, it seemed in the beginning to be a pretty decent move on move 18, knight e5. But the problem is that missing that discovered attack on the queen, that's where it all started. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Especially maybe at least take it with a pawn on e5 and it's kind of a complicated position. But as you mentioned, allowing that opening of the c file ended up being deadly for White.
Yeah. And I mean that basically once that happened, it really opened up the game for Black and he was able to use, his pieces and such. Sadly, Alex, so we won't be able to really get another game in because I have to start work in 8 minutes. But I just wanted to let everyone know who is watching that next week everything should be completely normal. It's just that chess.com, by the way, it's not the easiest interface to get used to, which is why I know that some players may use different chess interfaces, which is why we were running a little bit late today. But next week, we are totally going to be looking at 2 games per round, and we'll be commentating on about 8 matches next week. So I hope to see you guys on Saturday. 10 a.m. PST, or 8 p.m. Romanian time, because Alex
Exactly.
over
That's a
here.
good point. That's a good point.
Alex over here is actually in Europe right now. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary for what we could have done today. And next week, we'll make sure that there are no technical difficulties on our players' ends or on our end. I hope all of you have an amazing day. And yeah, and if, by the way, me and Alex, we actually both do stream, so you could see our username next to our name, Chess with Lisa and ChessTube TV. I hope all of you have a great weekend, and happy Valentine's Day tomorrow to anyone who's celebrating. Bye, guys.
All right.
Bye.